Welcome back to Study on Spotlight. Our new episode, we have Helen from Queen's College Taunton here today with us. So, hello, Helen.
Hi, how are you doing?
Really good. So, would you like to introduce yourself and your positions? And
Yeah, of course.
maybe give us a little bit introduction of Queen's College Taunton.
Perfect. So my name's Helen Kingaby. I'm the Director of International Admissions. So Queen's College is a co-educational day and boarding school based in the southwest of England. So we are about 1 hour 45-minute train journey from London Paddington, so we're very easily accessible. We're in the heart of the Somerset countryside. We have boarding students from age 7. We're a non-selective school, so we can offer lots of choice for lots of varieties of students. And yeah, I'm really happy to be here today talking to you about our school.
That's good. So actually, an hour and 45 minutes train is not that far, really.
It's really not. If you think how long it would take to get from the one end of London to the other, then yeah, it's
pretty much
really
the same.
Exactly. And the train station in Taunton is like a 5-minute drive from our school, so it's not like the transfers between would be really long either.
Right. So student, rather apart from going to London, maybe for the weekends or for short trips, where would they normally go around as well?
So actually, we're very close to the centre of Taunton town. So we're the school is on the outskirts of it, but it's about a 15-minute walk right into the centre. So students can go into town on the weekends. There's lots of shops and cafes and restaurants. We have the theatre. A little further out is bowling and cinema and things like that. But if they want to go on a big shopping trip, they would tend to either go to Exeter, which is about a half an hour drive away, or Bristol is our nearest big city, and that'll take about 45 minutes to an hour to get to. But again, there's train services quite close to the school.
Right, that's really close by, actually, considering the size of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've been to Bristol before, and super good.
Yeah,
There are
so good.
lots of like shopping mall, and is there a big river in
There
there?
is, yeah. So the shopping kind of goes around the river.
Yeah.
It is really beautiful. It's really cosmopolitan, really diverse. I think that our students love to go to Bristol for a day out. But there's also got the museums and the history behind it. So it's not just about the shopping, although that is important.
So how often are they allowed out?
So
for the
we do
boarders?
actually have co-curricular on a Saturday morning. So it's not classes, it's not part of their timetable, but it is, so they'll have either their theatre, or they'll have dance, or they'll have sports. We have academic co-curricular as well. So on a Saturday afternoon is usually our students' free time, and on a Sunday. So in the boarding houses, there are excursions planned every Sunday. It's not compulsory, so those students who would rather do their own thing on a Sunday, they can do. You know, they work really hard during the week. A Sunday is kind of their time to chill. So a Saturday afternoon and a Sunday is really their free time.
Okay. Speaking of co-curricular, what kind of activities is offered at Queen's College?
Oh, we have tons. We have over 120 choices for our students. So the way our co-curricular works, it's compulsory to do co-curricular every single day. So
Every single day?
Every single day.
Okay.
So when their lessons finish at 3:30, all students must do co-curricular one. Now this can be a choice of all the sports. We have a climbing wall, we have a swimming pool, we have tennis, we have, all the sports you could imagine, but we also have our performing arts club, we have our dance clubs, we have technology clubs, we have cookery classes. So there's so much for them to choose from. So the students below sixth form, they then must do a second co-curricular, which I think works really well because most of our students usually choose a sport as their first one and then more of a relaxing activity for their second one before they go on for their evening meal. Sixth form students can use their second co-curricular to catch up on study, to do some revision, to talk to some of their teachers that they may not have been able to get around to that day. So with the sixth form, it's a little bit more flexible, but they still must do one co-curricular.
Okay. So because I guess like for most of the Hong Kong students, when they're especially getting towards the end of secondary school, they're much more concerned about academics and revisions and all those. So what's the importance and how, well, I should say, what's the importance of having that co-curricular activities in their terms during like
Yeah.
school times? And
I think for us, we want our students to work really hard during their curricula and their timetables during the week, and they are really busy. But we feel that part of being able to study hard and part of being engaged in your studies, you need to also have that downtime and that, the time when you're doing things that you really enjoy rather than, studying can be enjoyable, but it can also be stressful, it can be hard work. So this is a way of de-stressing the students, giving them something really fun, but also it's about teaching them new skills, getting them to experience things that they may never have thought of experiencing before. For example, if we have a student who comes over and they love sport and, they're really into their rugby or their football or anything, we would encourage them to try a photography club. They might try photography and think, actually, this isn't for me, I don't like it. But they might try it and think, my goodness, I'm really good at it, I really enjoy it. And this will give them a skill that they'll take forward with them for the rest of their lives. And I think that's the whole point of a British education, but also an education at Queen's, is that we want all of our students to learn more about themselves when they're with us, so that when they leave us, they've kind of got this whole new world opened up to them.
About the academic one, and like what A-level or GCSE subject can students choose in school?
So you can choose the normal subjects, your English and maths, your sciences. We have design technology, we have performing arts, that's both at GCSE and at A-level. We have cookery, and again, that's at GCSE and A-level. Outdoor education, that can be chosen as a BTEC. So there's lots of alternatives for our students. We do have a lot of very academic students who will choose the sciences and the maths and the STEM classes, but we've also got a lot of students who enjoy the practical side of education, and that's where the performing arts and the cookery and the art and the photography all come into play.
so often international students might not join like from year 7 and maybe join in year 10 or year 12 and they might have missed or might not have the opportunity to explore the options that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
So would it be a good thing for international students when they join Queen's? Would it be a good idea if they go for a typical GCSE A-level combination? Or would you rather recommend them like trying out different things, the subjects that they have never tried for?
I would definitely recommend, and again, for the more practical subjects, they're the ones that it's easier to join when you haven't studied them before. You've got to have a passion for that. I don't think that a student choosing A-level art would be a right thing if they haven't got a passion for art. So I think it's all down to what they believe in and what they're really passionate about. I wouldn't say that a student who's never studied biology before should come and want to do A-level biology, but if they were coming earlier in GCSEs, absolutely you can try those subjects and see whether you could progress to A-level for them. So for us, we try to build bespoke timetables for each of our students, depending on their needs, depending on their level of English, depending on their academic abilities, to make sure that they get to the end place that they want to get to, but also making sure that they can cope and they can manage with that pathway that we've built for them. So some students will need more EAL, some students will need less, and in that way we can change their timetable around to make sure that we can kind of maybe reduce the number of academic subjects and increase the EAL, and then in time that will change over to the other way around. So I think I wouldn't say to any student not to try, because I think we should offer the opportunities to everybody and then work out whether it is the right pathway for that student. And some students can do some work over the summer. If they're due to join us in September, we can give them some advice on what to study throughout the summer, which will then give them a head start and help them then to progress with their A-levels when they arrive.
Yeah, that's really important, because I think the syllabus, even we're talking about same subjects in Hong Kong with biology or chemistry, it's completely different syllabus, I would guess. Or maybe it's the techniques or like the study techniques is
Yeah.
a bit different.
Absolutely, but I
So-
think that also it may be the same content that's being studied in various countries, but studied at a different time. So, for example, even in the UK, at different schools, they may study the same 3 subjects for each term, but they'll do it in different term ways. And that will be the same in Hong Kong, that they may study the same content, but in a different year. So it's just the more information we have about what the student has already studied and the way that they choose to study, it helps us then to make sure that we're offering the right pathway for them.
So you just mentioned about the Year L and how the school can bespoke a timetable for international student to balance their to tailor for their needs. So what about the Year L? Like students are assessed with their English on their arrival, right?
That's correct, yeah. So all of our international students have an assessment with our EAL department, and then that will determine how much support they need. Some students don't need any EAL at all. Some students may need 5 lessons a week. So it's all, again, down to each individual student. But all of our students are fully immersed in all of their other subjects and in their boarding houses. So the British and the international students all study together, they live together, all of their co-curricular is together. And that really helps with their English as well, because the common language is English. They must speak English in all of their lessons. They're being taught in English, but they're also getting this intensive EAL support on the side.
Is it the EAL like support before when they like start to learn? Is it before?
Or within timetable, you mean?
So yeah, it's all throughout their timetable. So I'm in Hong Kong, a lot of students have English. A lot of them go to international schools already, but it's just having that conversational English in the UK that really is the key to their improvement. And some it's their written English that needs support. So yeah, every student is very different, and I think it would be unfair of us to treat every international student the same and give them the same pathway, and that's why we have to go through this process. Our director of academics is very involved in the students' timetable, so is the co-curricular head, making sure that they're doing the right subjects for them. When they get to 6th form, our head of 6th form is extremely involved in each of our students' day-to-day lives. So there is a lot of support for our international students, because at the end of the day, we all want everybody to succeed. The parents want them to, the students want them to, and the school wants them to. So if we all work together, then they're going to get there.
So over the years, have you seen any, like the international student, how have they changed over the time and being confident in what they're doing, and especially
absolutely, and that's the best part of my job. That's exactly why I love doing my job, because you've got to remember, I meet students right at the very beginning when they're only looking at schools, and so they'll come for an interview, or they'll come for a tour around the school, or you'll meet them online, and they can be quite shy, and their confidence is very low. But you go through the process, and they're the right fit for your school, and they arrive and they're still a little bit timid. Within 5 days, you can walk around the school and see them with a big group of friends, and they're chatting away, and they've joined all the clubs that they want to join. And you just think that's exactly why I do this job, because I personally think it's incredible that students have the courage to travel overseas to a country they may never have been to before, away from their friends and family. I think already they are amazing for being able to do that. So then when you see them actually making the most of that opportunity and really embracing it, it just, it fills me with pride. It's a lovely thing.
Do you remember the first time when you leave home?
Yeah, when
How's that
I
scary?
was 18. Yeah, when I was 18, I went to UK to study the university. So nervous for me the first day.
And how long did it take you to kind of settle in and feel confident?
Maybe like 1 month.
Right, okay.
Yeah, because I'm a bit more shy person,
Okay.
so I need more long time.
Yeah.
So do you recommend it's normally about a month or till how long it takes for the process or the time to settle in?
Again,
For
it depends
international
on the student. Some students settle in very quickly. They'll meet a friend and they have an instant bond, and that really helps. We try when students arrive to make sure that they're set up with a buddy, make sure that the person they're sharing a room with will fit their personality, so that they can build this bond quite quickly. But yeah, and some students, I don't think it would take longer than a month. I think it's definitely shorter than a month. I would say once they've got through the first couple of weeks of timetable, once they know where they're going in the school, once they know where they go for breakfast in the morning and get their laundry done and where their house parent is on different given times, I think that's the key. Just as long as they know where everything is and they can feel confident that they can get to their class when they need to, I think that's when it all starts to kind of fall in place.
Oh, talking about body. So
Okay.
students and parents so often when they go overseas, they tend to prefer school with less international student or the
Yeah.
less than same nationality.
Yeah.
Is it a good thing or a bad thing to have when you start your school tag along with the same nationality student with you?
I don't think it's a good thing. For us personally, we cap our nationality at 10% per nationality. We've currently got 34 nationalities in the school, and we've got 120 international students. So you can see that there's not very many of each nationality, and we do that on purpose because we don't want all of our students from Hong Kong to all congregate. We don't want all of our German students to congregate. We want everybody. We want it to be a multicultural society and community. And of course, it's very lovely for some of our students to have people from home, make them feel that they've got something in common, and we certainly wouldn't discourage it, but we wouldn't put two of the same nationalities in the boarding house together, as in the boarding room. We wouldn't put two of the same nationalities as buddies, because if they start off only speaking to their own nationality, they're going to continue that for the rest of their time, and we want them to, as I say, to embrace the whole community.
It is. It's more efficient if you're like stepping out with comfort zone, especially.
It is, I think, and I think it also teaches the student a little bit about themselves. If you're pushed, I mean, we've all been put outside of our comfort zones in lots of different times throughout our lives, and I think you do learn from it, and you do kind of gain a bit more confidence, and you do kind of hold yourself a little bit different when you've kind of faced something that is it's a bit uncomfortable, but you're going to do it anyway. And I think that really helps our students, and again, it helps their settling in become a less stressful time.
But what about if they like really, because I'm pretty sure most of the international students will go through that kind of homesick period.
Of course.
So is there any advice or how does school support them throughout the downtime?
So we do have 2 counsellors in our school. So if they are, if they get really bad, then they can go and speak to our counsellors. But actually, it doesn't usually get that far. All of our boarding houses have the house parents, they have assistant house parents, and they have GRAs, which are graduate assistants who are there for the year, and they're there to really support all of the students. They're with them all the time. They're in the common rooms with them, hanging out with them. But also our house prefects. So they are trained to help support and nurture our younger students. So the first point really is if a student is looking like they're struggling a little bit, then the house prefects will go over it. Sometimes it just needs a hug. Sometimes it might need a little bit more, and it might be escalated to the house parent. But there's so many people in place monitoring and assessing and just keeping an eye on all of our students, particularly the ones who are new to the school and who haven't studied overseas before. So we will catch them at any point. And like I say, sometimes it is just I miss my mom, just need a hug, or I miss my favourite noodle bowl. That because sometimes food can be the thing, can't it, that you just miss your favourite food. So yeah, it's just making sure that we just pick it all up.
And it's always like, because sometimes students or will also think about, well, I'm a grown up, especially for sixth form, they're
Yeah.
really reluctant to say it out.
Yeah.
So it's always good to have that community looking after each other.
Absolutely, it really is, and that's why we think we take pride in being able to encourage our older students to help support our younger students. It's good for everybody. Our older students are getting the experience of being supportive and looking after, and the younger students get that support. So it's a win-win for everybody, I think.
About the age, do you think is it better for younger age student to enroll?
I mean, personally, yes, I do. I think the sooner a student comes to the UK, the easier the transition into A level. I mean, if a student's ambition is to go to university in the UK, the longer they're in the UK beforehand, following the GCSE programme, then following the A levels, then going on to university, it's just because they're there, it's got to be the better option. But you know, we have students joining us in year 11, for example. They do a 1-year GCSE programme before A levels, and that is a really good preparation. Gets them into the British system, gets them into the way that the UK schools are run and how the lessons are run and the timetables are run. So that really does help them. But yeah, if you ask me, I think, you know, year 9 is a really good age for international students to come to the UK. It's like the year preparation before GCSEs, then the GCSEs, then the A levels. So yeah,
Especially year 9 doesn't have any exam pressure, so it's
exactly that.
And it's that time. It's just that 1 year. Especially we mentioned about earlier before about the subject options. So doing every subject that they can explore their passion and really what they really interested in.
Exactly. It just helps them to understand how those lessons are taught in the UK, because we do have some students who choose subjects and expecting them to be a certain way, because that's how it's been in their home country, and it's completely different, and it kind of throws them off. And we can be a little bit flexible in, you know, changing the timetables around throughout the year. But if, like you say, they've had that year 9 experience of all of the subjects, they really will by year 10 think that I love that one, not so keen on that one, really good at that one, and then they can kind of choose their GCSEs accordingly.
Yeah, especially I remember my friends when they come to join in the UK in year 9 or something. So often they would think, well, doing art or any design subject is really easy, right? Because in Hong Kong, pretty much it's just like a painting or like sketching, drawing. It's like more the technique or the whatever you call it, technical side of it. But in the UK, it's much more involved with like sketchbook, presentations, and idea developing, and all those research as well.
It is. It's much more intense in the UK, and that's a perfect example, isn't it? That if they come to the UK in year 9 and they are taking art, they will know what's expected of them. And also some of these subjects, like I think they look at performing arts, for example, and think it is just being on stage all the time and singing and dancing, which it is a lot of that, but there's also a lot of written work and theory work behind it. And I think that kind of throws some of our students off as well, thinking that and PE, that they're just going to be playing football all the time, when actually a lot of the time is spent in the classroom.
Studying human anatomy and all the biology stuff as well.
Exactly.
All right. But you just mentioned about the 1-year GCSE program, right? So how does that program structured? Because like if student thinking, well, if I complete Form 4 in Hong Kong, maybe want to study a year, like a pre-year, and then go into A-level. How's that structured? Is it really difficult for students to fit everything, to squeeze everything in 1 year?
Well, it can be. They do have to work hard. I'm not saying it's an easy pathway by any stretch, but they only have 5 subjects. So they have their cores, their maths, science and English, but then they have 2 options that they can choose from, and they can choose their favourite subjects, or they can choose the ones that they're really good at for that. So yeah, it is condensed into 1 year, but they are doing a lot less subjects. If you think that a 2-year GCSE, students are doing 11 subjects. So yeah, it can be done, and we actually do a 3-year A-level programme as well. So the 1-year GCSE is great for students who have like a level B2 English and above. Anything below that, They can do a preparation for A-level year, but they don't have to take exams at the end of it. So it really is just preparing them for the subjects they want to take at A-level, improving their English, getting them experience of the British curriculum, but still enabling them to progress on to the A-level afterwards.
So sometimes student parents actually will bring out this question. So if they missed out GCSE exams or did not do any GCSE qualification, would that disadvantage them when they apply for uni?
So they will then, they can take them again whilst they're doing their A-levels, so that there are options for them to do retakes. And with that pre-A-level programme, they can do their English and Maths GCSE during that. Obviously, it's the one-year GCSE, they can do that. And yeah, so when they're doing their A-levels, they do have the option of being able to sit those exams as well.
Okay, so it's still manageable within the timetable and
Absolutely.
time.
And again, it goes back to offering a bespoke timetable for each of our students for their needs going forward. Because not all students want to go to university in the UK. A lot do, but some want to go overseas to university, some want to return home when they finish their A-levels. So yeah, it's very individual.
Oh, that's good. So how about any advice we want to give to international students if they want to come to Queen's College? And
Okay, if they want to come to Queen's College, I think they should do their research. I think coming to visit would be fabulous. I know it's not as practical coming from Hong Kong, but if you are in the UK in a summer, even if this is 2 or 3 years before you are deciding to study in the UK, come to the schools, come and have a look around. We do taster days, we do taster nights in the boarding houses, so they can really experience what it's like. But also just have a think about where you want to go, what your pathway will be, so they can give us as much information and we can guide them and help them and support them through that process. Lots of reading, read English books, watch English films, spend time really trying to improve the English so that you don't have to have as much EAL when you get to the school, and you can increase the number of subjects that you are taking. So I would say that, yeah, do lots of reading.
yeah, it does feels like when you read, you come across with vocabulary never pretty much not the academic one, but more the like the written work one.
Absolutely.
So it's always, I remember I used to have like a notebook, just mark down all these like unseen and unknown vocabulary and then just remember it and like in my free time. But it is a process for international students. It takes
is a
time.
process, absolutely. And just be confident and just remember that you're amazing just for being able to travel over to the UK and allowing yourself that experience. I think they should always just remember how incredible they are and how brave they are for doing that.
It is. And you just mentioned about the taster day as well. I just want to bring out the differences between going to a taster day and summer camp. So some of them parents would like maybe arrange a summer school or summer camp for students to join and have that kind of taste, like the trial, like for the experience. But actually it's a bit different, isn't it, with the taster day, because students are really in lessons and during term time.
Absolutely. So we will buddy the student up with a current student of the same year and with the similar interests. And so, yeah, the student will literally just follow the timetable for 2 days. They can spend 1 or 2 nights in the boarding house, so they can really experience what that's like, sharing a bedroom with another student, being in the common rooms in the evening, going down to the dining hall for breakfast and for dinner. So a summer school is fabulous, and it does give you an insight into what life would be like. But there is a lot of it's fun activities. A summer school is not structured in the same way that a term time school day is. So I think it's just a more real evaluation of what life would be like in that school, and that's why we encourage it as much as possible. We have students having taster days all throughout the year when it's convenient for the family, and our international families, kind of like it, they drop their children off, and then they can go and do some exploring whilst their children are being looked after in the school. So it's a win-win.
It is. I remember like the student coming to our school to do Taste Day. And it was
Yeah.
really fun because I remember I taking them around and
Yeah.
then showing them around the schools and our lessons, and then see them next year. And it's always that connection. It's like, oh, I remember you last time.
Absolutely, because they are, the year-round students are going to still be there when they come
Yeah.
back in the future. And they've already got some friends, and actually some of our students who come on tasters, they are then in touch with their boarding house friends for the rest of the year until they arrive. So when they do arrive, they are firm friends because they've been talking for so long between hands. So I do think a taster is a really good thing that we can offer.
Yeah, it's just the disadvantage of it has to be during school term, not like the normal Easter, Christmas holiday when school closes.
It's not the most convenient.
Yeah, but maybe
I think.
Chinese New Year is a good time for
It is,
like Hong Kong
absolutely,
students if
because
they're
we're
really
still there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think we're about time today. So
Thank you very
before
much.
we go, is there
Thank you.
anything you want? Well, I think is there anyone want to ask?
No.
You're good? Cool.
Great.
So if any one of you are interested in Queen's College Taunton or wanting to do a taste today, feel free to contact Helen or us, or maybe wanting to know more about the schools, so feel free to contact us as well. So thank you so much,
Thank
Helen.
you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Do an episode 2.
Yeah.
Thank you.